This is Jarrell Lindsay for my post-reflection video. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Talents Today results. I mentioned those briefly in my assessment whenever I had my group meeting. However, what I discovered most about my personality is I have a very an interesting blend of talents, which I think can necessarily speak volumes for my career as well as my personal endeavors. I definitely think I have a very competitive spirit. I have an ease in public. I scored high on persuasion, self-confidence, independent mind, creativity, autonomy, responsiveness, and determination. Um, the highest being in ease of public, persuasion, and autonomy. And I think that definitely speaks to most volumes for all the aspects of my life. And it's most interesting that the questions pick that up for my personality and a professional aspect. Um, what are my motivations as a professional? I think a lot of the questions that we got during the assessment were pretty much geared towards answering, are we more driven intrinsically to do what's best and what we define as being best for us, or are we more driven to be competitive and make the most money and have the highest position? And that's not me at all. I measure my success based off in the same way I measure my happiness and what brings me to full fruition and completion. So I think that with that being said, it's not necessarily what motivates me as a professional, it's also what motivates me to sustain my happiness. And those things being the ability to have a creative aspect in everything what I do, to be able to have freedom in my creativity and in my thinking. I'm very limitless when it comes to how I interact with others and how I necessarily congregate my ideas and formulate conclusions to things. So being able to sustain that type of creative thinking and freedom and apply it to a professional aspect is what will kind of bring the most success for me, I believe. My motivational factors. Like I said, I'm not motivated entirely by money or by anything that I think can be here today and gone tomorrow. More so, kind of creating a legacy for myself, being able to have something that my kids can look up to one day. To say, hey, I did this, blah, blah, blah. As a kid, I've always been able to look at my father's work ethic and just say, hey, he's very strong, he's very adamant about what he did, and I want to be that way when I grow up. So I want to be able to have that same type of aspect for my future kids as well. Um, what motivates my work and does not motivate me? Again, I'm not motivated by necessarily having the highest or the largest bank account. I want to be satisfied in what I'm doing. I want to create quality work. I want to be able to say I'm always helping people. My first degree was actually in social work, and I think the basis, even though I'm not no longer interested in working in social work, the basis of what I wanted to do was be able to help people. And once I realized that I wasn't going to be able to be in a position where I'm indefinitely helping people without harming them, that's what kind of pushed me to drive away from the field itself. So I want to definitely help. My four main talents, according to Talent ID, says that I am enterprising and triggers innovation. I'm proactive and adapt and support change. I'm direct and I communicate with ease to those who are willing to listen. And I'm sociable and I enjoy sharing my work. And I think that speaks for me as on a creative as well. I'm a writer first and foremost, and with any aspect of anything I've written, I think I have a joy in being able to share what I have written just because it's very multifaceted. It can kind of speak to multiple levels, demographics, walks of life, no matter who or where you are, where you come from. So just being able to relate, I think is very important for me. So that concludes the questions that remain, I believe. Oh no, our final Google Hangout meeting scheduled for next Tuesday. I'm not sure the exact time, but that was in our email as well. What I learned from the delivery games is that really it's not hard or difficult to have a conversation with multiple people that you haven't interacted with. Honestly, we kind of just need icebreakers. When I was a orientation leader for my undergrad, I had to constantly deal with a series of 50 to 70 incoming freshmen on the basis of every 2 weeks, and you have 70 kids who look at you like, who are you, and how am I gonna open up to you in 3 days? And icebreakers definitely was one of the things that able to open communication and get to know people, their walk of life, where they come from. People were coming from various cities, states, and everything. So it's just really easy to open up a conversation whenever it's not so pressured. There's not the same type of strain that you have on, all right, let's get down to the work. No, we're people. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's have fun. Why would my instructor ask me to play these games? I think for that very reason, just to be able to open up the door of communication, and we can talk about something as simple as, has anyone ever lived in New York, or do you have a dog, or where are you from? Do you like cheese on your fries? Then you're able to say, okay, I'm more relaxed, I'm more comfortable with you. So now let's talk about something that's more personal as far as your career endeavors or what you want to do professionally. My delivery in step 3. Well, I think that I think his name is Michael. He was our designated leader for the group, and I think he does a great job in keeping the flow of the work, the conversation going very well. And I do my part in supporting him on the PR side of what we're going to do with the campaign itself. So I think that I would like to say I had a sound delivery. We got everything submitted on time, and I think we submitted quality work thus far. I think moving forward, especially before next week, we want to make sure that we can improve on our timeliness and how we're going to communicate. Moving forward, the speech practice activities, I think we all need to work on that, mostly because we don't really know what we're anticipating. We haven't memorized this. It's not something that we're doing fake, or it's very verbatim, and we're reading and we're answering as we're going, so we're not necessarily given time to prepare on what we're going to say. And I think that I kind of like that aspect, just because, like I said, it's more authentic. I should say, I don't want to necessarily have a prepared speech for what I'm about to say, for at least for video group exercises. Now, if we were submitting something for the client itself, of course we need to have talking points, and that's a different type of speech preparation. But I certainly want to plan to apply what we've learned from our PPP moving forward for the next assignment and for next week's group meeting. Thank you.